fucking first cut. Golly.
Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and this is your recap episode for this week's RBC Heritage. Joining me to break it all down, Greg DuCharme is here. Hello, Greg.
Hello, boys. What a week. We almost got your playoff there, by the way, Rick. We were really close to that repeat playoff. Pretty good stuff, though.
Yeah, which we, I guess, had determined had never happened before. The same two guys being in a playoff. Again, this was the first time the same two guys were in the final group after going to a playoff the year before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it was pretty uncharted territory.
Yeah, special.
Kyle Porter is here. KP, hello to you.
How we doing? I've watched so much golf. My left eye has exploded. It's all bloodshot. I don't know what's going on, but I'm gonna play through it. It'll be like my flu game.
Are you left eye dominant while watching golf?
I have no idea. I don't know what happened. I noticed it yesterday afternoon. I guess it started just getting red and going crazy. Might have got some dirt in it when I was coaching baseball. Who can say? I have no idea.
Can you just too much time with Spieth and contention?
Yeah, this is what it does to me.
Can you still rub dirt on something when dirt is the problem? Is the solution to still rub some dirt on it?
No, it's certainly not. I mean, there's these youth baseball fields. There's no. I mean, I feel like Gary Player here, but there's no water for them. There's just dust everywhere. It's problematic.
Well, we finished a long day of golf with a 3-hole playoff. We will discuss that very much in depth, but let me set the stage a little bit here for a full day of Sunday action. Christiaan Bezuidenhout, Greg, laid the blueprint early around Harbor Town, a 7 under 64 that was bogey free. He goes out in 31, and he does it in the way that Bezuidenhout usually does it, gaining nearly 5 strokes putting. But this was the path. This was, if you were going to go out and shoot something early, do what Seabez did.
Right, and that front 9 has been exactly where you take advantage of it all week. You're going to see in a lot of the scorecards we show, birdies at 1 and 2, and then a couple of other birdies late there, maybe 5 and 6 or maybe 4 and 5. You'll see a lot of back-to-back birdies in that stretch. And this is what Christiaan did today. A lot of the putts that he made were in that 10 to 15 foot range, which is, you feel like they're makeable. But to me, this is what this golf course presents. If you're able to get the ball in position off the tee and on the green, you're left with a lot of these putts. And when you're feeling it like he was today, well, you can go shoot 64. That's out there. So really good, really clean round from him.
Moves up 37 spots to finish T19, which cashes Mark's best bet of Christiaan Bezuidenhout to finish inside the top 40 at plus 120. It was another front 9 31, this time for Justin Thomas, KP. Not necessarily the result that JT was looking for, T25, but a Sunday 66 might put a little juice in his boots moving forward.
Juice in his boots. I've never heard that.
I think I just made it up. No, I've never heard it either.
Okay. I mean, we might as well.
Yeah.
Might as well start using it.
Juice
I mean,
it
JT needs a little juice in his boots. He's not. Masters Week was really interesting because there was a lot of chatter about like what's going on with JT. A lot of kind of not behind the scenes, but a lot of rumors about, injury. Is he fully healthy? What's going on? And, JT is one of the guys that you want to see thriving at the big events, at the major championships, because to me, he's one of the 8 to 10 guys that matters the most. So doesn't mean a lot for this week because he didn't win, and that's kind of all that matters to JT, but could mean a lot for Quail Hollow, for Oak Hill, for LACC, and hopefully gets him kind of kick-started on the year.
Yeah, we talked about the logjam. Was it last night, Greg, that we talked about the logjam at this board? And Josh has a great note in our outline here. There were 10 players within 4 shots of the lead when the leaders went off. And there was even more guys, 16 within 4 shots when the leaders were playing the 5th hole. So this was a tournament that someone was going to have to go out and win. It was not going to fall into the lap of anyone.
Sorry, it's because there are those rounds of 64 out there, and especially when the scoring happens on the front nine the way it did, the number of 30s and 31s that you see on that front nine is incredible, and JT is one of them. So I mean, the thing that puts juice in his boots for me is the precision of the tee, much more accurate today. I mean, he hit 12 of 14 fairways, and that kind of allowed him to utilize his strength, which the iron play seemed to come alive a little bit today. Made a couple of putts today, but to me, it all started with the tee shots.
Yeah, a couple other guys tried to get themselves into the mix here, KP. Sahith Theegala goes out and shoots a 66. Sungjae Im got off to a very hot start, 4 under through 8 and 5 under through 10. They would end up finishing, let's see, respectively, Sahith T5, Sungjae T7. I'm impressed with what both of these guys have done. Sahith is starting to learn more golf courses now, getting into everything for, the second time and playing well. And then Sungjae is just a machine who never plays bad.
He is a machine. I'm ready for the Sahith win. You can see it coming. It's going to happen. There's going to be a week where everything just clicks and he makes some stupid putts and he ends up winning a golf tournament, and then it'll probably be an episode of Full Swing Season 2. So I'm excited about that. I think both of these guys in a lot of ways are good characters in a sport that needs more of them. And I like thinking, talking, and writing about both of them. So, I think Sahith, you want to see him be a little bit more consistent from tee to green. He can get, I think it was at the Masters. I remember somebody had a tweet like he chips in on 16 and then he hits one in the grandstand on 17. And you're like, yeah, I mean, that's sort of the deal with him. So all these guys are pursuing consistency, and you'd like to see him just get a little bit more consistent from tee to green as he continues chasing that first win.
Yes, indeed. Now, I guess you're not counting his win with Tom Hoge at the QBE shootout as his first win.
I'm unfortunately for him, I am not.
Okay, fair enough.
But I mean, to drive the point home, he goes. These are his finishes this year: 33, 54, T4, T39, T6, T14, 74, T31, 9th, and then I think what was he, 5th this week?
5, I believe. Yeah.
So it's a little all over the place, which is great if you're missing cuts and winning. But his are they're almost like not. What's the word I'm looking for? They're not far enough on the edges. Like he needs his worst or his bad needs to be a little bit worse, and his good needs to be a little bit better, or he just needs to be more consistent across the board. So he's kind of in this weird. It's like the NBA where you either need to be like really good or really bad, and he's like in this purgatorial middle ground where it doesn't really accomplish a lot for him.
The worst thing in the NBA is getting into the playoffs and losing in the first round every year.
Yes.
That's the worst.
Yeah. But Kyle, also to drive home your point on the tee to green stuff, I mean, he had less than half the fairways today.
Yeah,
and hit 9 greens. And
he might be Spieth,
right? It's kind of got that feel. I mean, he had 3 holeouts from off the green.
Yeah.
That 3 and 1 and on Sunday. I mean, he did it at the Masters last week as well. I don't think it was. I think he had multiple holeouts from off the green Sunday there too. So that's a tough thing to rely on.
Yeah, and I might have been. I think the way I said that was incorrect. Like he needs to be more consistent with his game. I'm fine with the finishes being inconsistent as long as some of them are resulting in, top 2s, top 3s, whatever. But the tee to green stuff is it's a little, I think it's a little Spiethian in that like you can like play in top 10 like that. I don't know how much you can win like that, So I guess that's what I mean by more of the consistency.
Yeah, he led the field in strokes gained short game by nearly 2 full strokes, 10.8 between around the green and putting. He lost strokes on approach. So that's certainly one way to get it done, not necessarily something you can do every single week. Let me add another voice to this conversation because he has finished up his editorial work, and we are going to bring him in right now. It is Patrick McDonald. And Patrick, hello to you.
What's going on? Talking about Sahith. I love it.
That's right. Yes. Do you have anything to add on him?
Yeah. Week after major championships on a Pete Dye design. sign him up. Travelers Championship after the U.S. Open last year. Xander was in the mix this week too. Rick, look into those numbers for me, please.
Very specific trend. I like that. While all this was happening, while Sungjae was making a run, while Xander, who we'll talk about in a second, was making a run, that guy, the number one player in the world, our new Masters champion, Greg, jumped into the booth and wasn't a walk and talk, wasn't a 2-question interview. It was Jon Rahm, fresh off the golf course, giving us some analysis of the shots that he was seeing Patrick Cantlay play and Jordan Spieth play and Matt Fitzpatrick play. Tell you what, pretty good stuff. Pretty good.
Yeah, it was really good. Excited. He sounded happy in there. He sounded calm, and he gave some really good insight too. It was pretty cool. I thought that that he was in there for the Patrick Cantlay situation on 14, which is just so bizarre. It's such a bizarre situation, and to get a player. To get a player who's, competing in the event to be able to talk about what he would do in that situation is just so rare and unique. So definitely appreciative of John's time. And I enjoyed that part. I enjoyed many of the breakdowns that he gave. And he was really good in there.
It reminded me of Phil at the 2020 PGA.
Right. Which I thought they would do, because I thought that was pretty widely enjoyed by all. I thought this would be more common. Maybe it's just hard to get guys, especially on a Sunday, who want to fly out of town to hang around for a little bit longer and give you 30 minutes. Like, I thought it would happen more.
Yes, for sure. What the second part you said is correct. It's hard to get guys to do it. The Phil thing felt like this feels like a lifetime ago, but it felt like a little bit of a, hey, this is what Phil in the booth could look like type thing from, I don't know which side of that was like pushing for, maybe both sides, who can say, but this was more unique in that it felt like making, like doing the tour of like winning the Masters. And this was just another stop. Now, that live golf was happening at a very high level was just sort of like a unintended benefit, I think, of throwing him in there. But he was extraordinary. I mean, it's always easier, for guys that just come off the course and have been playing actually been playing the course that they're now breaking down with guys that are still playing. So I think you can't expect that from anybody that's in the booth, but the funniest part was he goes, this is not my job, so bear with me here. And then he just proceeds to break down in the most intricate detail Patrick Cantlay short game that I've ever heard. I mean, he's talking about like the loft he hits his chip shots with, and he likes to draw here, and it was unbelievable. Like, I couldn't get enough of it. It was great.
Jon Rahm, a big believer in under promise, over deliver, which yes. I also subscribe to. Well done, Jon Rahm. More of that. Well, he was focused on that final group, Patrick, the big three, Matt Fitzpatrick, Jordan Spieth, Patrick Cantlay. This was a three-way duel throughout the entirety of the afternoon. And since we've already talked about or alluded to it, the shot on 14, the moment on 14, the decision on 14, where Patrick Cantlay chips his second shot back down towards the water on the par 3, and his ball gets wedged up. A little wedgie action between the bulkhead and the stanchion. I don't even know. That's how I would describe it. And we got a full on, from the moment I knew he was going to try to hit that shot, because he never once even looked at where he could drop it. He kept wedge in hand the entire time, trying to figure out what the best way he could play this shot was.
I think Rahm even said, for him personally, he's like, yeah, this is a point in time when Adam would be trying to talk me out of this golf shot. So it was an incredible shot. I think Dottie Pepper mentioned on the broadcast that Fitzpatrick and Spieth were a bit peeved with how long it took him to kind of weigh his options in that moment, whether to take a drop or not. But there was no way he could take a drop at that time. It would have, led to an instant double bogey and just out of the tournament. He only finished one stroke out of the playoff when all things were said and done. But yeah, you saw Spieth's chip first. I can't believe he hit that chip after Spieth hit that chip. You would think of the two, the first one would go in the water, given how fast it is. But it was the second one, and someone like Cantlay, who's pretty methodical It was a surprise, but unbelievable golf shot.
Okay, so real quick, share my screen, Josh, and we'll just show you where Tourcast had this ball. That's not a real location. So obviously things, if you're watching on YouTube, Tourcast couldn't really find where this thing was. It's basically hanging out over there. But apparently I think we have the video of this shot. Do we not? Yeah, this is this. Okay, so this is his second. It's going to roll towards the water.
Settle down.
That better sit down.
You say it's fine.
Oh my word.
Little wedgie.
Well, that was exactly what we were talking about.
This happened with, was it Shane Lowry a couple years ago, where he either chipped it in or chipped it close to the water from. I mean, that happens every year on that hole, and it's such a.
Oh,
That was last year.
somebody also imploded out of that bunker, right? Out of that bunker into the water.
Maybe that was Lowry.
Lowry
Do you remember
went
what I'm
last year
talking
out of
about,
the water.
Patrick? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a difficult. I mean, you can't stop it. It's just so. It actually made Spieth's shot right before that look a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
Let's we have the shot. We have the chip that he actually hit, which this is insane to even try, and he pulls it off. How does the ball?
Oh yeah.
How does it even pop up like that? Only like I feel like a third of it he had access to. How did he get it to pop up?
You know, it was kind of difficult to tell. And I was looking at it almost thinking, well, you could ensure this goes forward if you putt. You know,
Yeah, or like
kind of
belly
You
it.
get like top spin, right?
you get a little top spin. I was surprised. I was really surprised at how it came out. I don't know if he hit it a little bit thin. He must have, but he kind of shifted his hands, because that's the other thing. Like, the ball position has to be back, otherwise you're going to be standing in the water. So that's not possible. But he moves his hands back and recenters it, and that's just a creative shot that could be a disaster. I mean, you think about hitting it off of a piece of wood with it essentially sitting down, how easy it would be to hit is that the bulkhead or the stanchion? I don't know, whatever.
The stanchion in that scenario.
All right. So if it hits the stanchion behind the ball and he hits it thin, now you got a real problem. So look, I think he had a very, very small window of opportunity with a wedge there. And I think he just clipped it perfectly and got the leading edge under the equator. And that's why it's able to pop up. But what it reminded me of was Will Zalatoris in Memphis last year. And I was kind of thinking he could try it. Maybe he should. He's got to move it like a foot. But it's so risky. It's so risky. Ultimately, I agree with Patrick, where Patrick McDonald, where you're giving yourself a double bogey if you take a drop.
I was pretty impressed by the shot. Is Patrick Cantlay playing slow? Is that a real thing, a real problem, or is that an easy refrain at the moment?
Well,
I think it's.
Let's all go around.
Yeah.
I think it's both. I mean, you can't deny how much faster Fitzpatrick and Spieth were in the playoff. It was shocking.
But Fitzpatrick is definitely on the fastest end of things. He's going to make everybody look slow.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
All right.
Yeah.
So Fitzpatrick is being so fast. Cantlay maybe skewing slow, or is it actually problematic?
I think here's my thing. There's a lot of slow guys out there. He's one of the few stars that is slow. Like most of the stars, pretty fast. Rory, Rahm, Fitzpatrick. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I think I can't remember Morikawa. Scheffler's, I guess, not super fast. Spieth, I don't know. Spieth can do both. I mean, one shot he'll take like 15 minutes, and then he'll, not even think about the next 7. So I think that most of the top guys are some of the fastest guys, and so Cantlay sticks out because he's a top guy, but he's also one of the slower ones.
Patrick, they said it took 5 minutes for him to hit that shot. Now, I think he definitely skews slow, but if that was Jordan Spieth talking to Michael Greller for 5 minutes about that shot we would have thought
Yeah.
it was the greatest entertainment
Yes.
ever. It's just because Patrick Cantlay is very boring and not really all that fun to watch that I think his longer moments get amplified.
There's a few things that go into this, right? I mean, we had more people watching the Masters than normally, and that comes to light. The picture of Brooks and Rahm waiting on the 16th tee. So they just instantly think Patrick Cantlay is this super slow guy. But I don't, maybe I'm giving Cantlay too much credit, but I think there's a bit of gamesmanship in it. Honest, to an extent. You know, you have two very quick players behind you at the Masters. Why not play slow, you know, within the rules, in the time frame? Today you have Fitzpatrick, one of the fastest players, and then you have Ants in My Pants Johnson, Jordan Spieth alongside you. Like, why would you not want to play slow and make those guys kind of, you know, fidget a little bit more?
It clearly was affecting them.
Exactly.
They
so
were
if you're within
they were
the
angsty
rules, in the time, I'm all for it. I think it's needs a little bit more of that. Honestly, is he slow?
You
Yes.
want
Could he
more
speed
slow?
it up?
Patrick McDonald wants more slow play.
I
Is
want
that the headline?
more
That's-
gamesmanship, the
that's
game
the
within the
takeaway.
game, a little inside baseball. And I think, you know, Cantlay is an extremely intelligent cat. And I think there is a little bit of gamesmanship to it where you're in the penultimate group at the Masters. You have two of the fastest players behind you. Make them sweat it out. You're playing with two fast players today. Make them sweat it out. So,
You know, I Patrick, I think you're right on that. And not just gamesmanship for the other guys that you're playing with, but for yourself. Like he talked about how they were waiting on every shot too. And so he takes his time walking off the greens, takes his time everywhere that he goes, but it's almost like he's intentionally pacing himself so the stagnant time is minimized. Because I'm not gonna rush to wait. I'm not going to rush to wait. So that's the other thing about pace of play is you got an entire golf course here in front of you that affects how fast you can go. And if you play really fast, you're going to be standing around a lot. You play a little slower, it makes it feel a little more normal. But I think the biggest thing with Cantlay and why the perception is of his pace is so slow is how long the routine takes. Right. I mean, so every routine takes a long time. And then all of a sudden you get a moment like this. And it just, can you believe this? It takes 5 minutes to hit a shot. I mean, players take a long time when they're in situations like that. It happens all the time. But when you have the putting routine like he does, and, you know, you're shuffling your feet and every movement that he makes is slow. You feel like you're watching a sloth, and this is just putting gasoline on the fire. I think I don't think Cantlay is like the biggest slow play problem on the PGA Tour.
Well,
So,
go ahead, Kyle.
Real quick, Finau and Brooks are also fast, but the thing I was going to say, I just go to the other end of it and say more guys should just be like Fitzpatrick. Like, whatever you want to say about Cantlay or Spieth or whatever, like, just be like Fitzpatrick. Like, you know, Andy Johnson's talked about this a lot at the Fried Egg of playing fast and thinking quickly under duress is a skill. And I mean, you're seeing it, Rick, with baseball right now. The shot clock is, I haven't watched it, but from what I've read, the shot clock is like a really great thing for the sport.
It's sick.
And I don't know how you implement that in golf. I don't know what you do, but it would be
a shot clock.
It would be kind of awesome. Well, I guess what I'm saying, Greg, is like you don't have just one event taking place at all times.
It has to be like chess. You get a bank of time that you can use throughout the event. So if you want to take 5 shots on 14, that's fine, but you just ate up 5 minutes of your time of your bank.
See, well, the thing about the shot clock to me in golf is it's the only way to unclog the drain. And the clog in the drain, when you look at pace of play from, from the blimp view, the clog in the drain is the greens. And you have to get people off the greens quicker because players, we know they've done studies on this. It takes significantly less time off the tee, a little bit more on approach. And when you get on and around the greens, the time that it takes players to hit shots slows down dramatically. So if you hit the ball as quickly as Matt Fitzpatrick does, like DJ is a great example. He picks his club and hits it right away. And when he gets on the greens, he slows way down. And as a general rule, everybody does that. But if you have 30 or 40 seconds, whatever the time is, all of a sudden everybody's getting off the green quicker. Everybody's trying to they're reading their putts while other players are putting. They're getting ahead so that their time doesn't count. That's my view on it. And I know it would absolutely work.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of Fitzpatrick, to finish your analogy that I think you put in Slack, Patrick, Fitzpatrick is the 7 seconds or less Suns. He's the Steve Nash Suns. And Cantlay is the Four Corners, North Carolina from Mike
from Dean.
Yeah.
I mean, Cantlay's out there like he's on a trip with Napa with Xander just squashing grapes.
I mean, yeah, for sure. Who's against a shot? I mean, there is a shot clock. Like we're acting like there's no time limit. There is. It's not really adjudicated. It's not applied necessarily. But I just don't know who would be against that. The best players for the most part are all very fast. I think it works to their advantage because they're experienced. They've been in those situations before. When things are moving quickly, they're not moving as quickly for those guys as they are the lesser players. It just, I don't know. It just, to me, it makes too much sense for it not to happen.
We get through 14. We move to 15. Jordan Spieth lays up. This is the par 5, while Matt Fitzpatrick and Patrick Cantlay both intentionally bang it into the grandstand, using a little strategy there, getting your free temporary immovable object relief and going about your way that way.
Absolutely disgusting. They should have walked off the course there. The tartan jacket should be in Spieth's hand just because of that. I think they did it on 9 as well. Cantlay did at least. The drivable par 4, he blasted it into the grandstands there too. So twice an offender on Sunday alone, plus a slow play. Clearly not in a good light for golf fans. But yeah, I'm surprised Spieth laid up there, but he threw a dart in there right inside Fitzpatrick's line. And to Fitzy's credit, he rolled it in, and Spieth did as well. So that felt like a big moment. If Fitzpatrick failed to connect there, that probably could have been the tournament, in my opinion. But just rolling that in, knowing Spieth is going to make his because you gave him the line, was big time onions.
Big time onions. They all make birdie on 15, Greg. They go to 16. That is where Spieth and Cantlay make par, while Matt Fitzpatrick rolls in a 5-footer for birdie. And now things are starting to get real tense here coming down the home stretch.
This was the shot Matt Fitzpatrick needed. I mean, you look at what he does during this round today, and he takes care of the par 5s and really nothing else until this one at 16. And he finally just paints one right down the flagstick and makes a big birdie to tie Spieth. This is how leaders are. This is how 54-hole leaders should play. This is ideally how you draw it up. Take care of the par 5s. You don't make any mistakes. You get one good iron shot in there or wedge, and all of a sudden you end up winning. So this was the shot for me with Matt Fitzpatrick, aggressive at a left hole location, and just took it right at it. Where Spieth, who was in the lead, kind of got a little conservative, right? Played it out to the right a little bit too far. And if the roles were reversed, I think Spieth would have been much more aggressive. And he probably looks back and says he should have.
They get to 17 TKP. Fitzpatrick and Spieth are at 17 under. Cantlay is at 15 under. This is the par 3. Fitzpatrick hits a good one, does not convert the birdie putt, and a little bit of foreshadowing because he's going to have that putt coming up again. Spieth hits one to 30 feet or so, does not convert, and then Cantlay was in the front bunker, is able to get up and down. So they are all making par there, but this is going to end up being a pivotal hole. We're going to see some of these putts again here shortly.
And the lines that Fitzpatrick was taking on this hole were flabbergasted. I mean, he hit it left of that pin both times, right? Mm-hmm. And you're like, man, that's crazy. He had some really just quality golf shots over the last 2.5 hours, probably 3 hours of that tournament. So yeah, nothing really They both made 3 there, right, in regulation.
Mhm.
I guess in the playoff also. So nothing really happened. Fitzpatrick had a look to, at that point you would have thought win the tournament. He missed it, but I was just really impressed with some of the golf shots that he hit.
18 was too little too late for Patrick Cantlay. Patrick McDonald, he makes birdie, but he is going to fall 1 shot out of the playoff. Fitzpatrick and Spieth both make par, setting up a 2-man playoff in a designated. Is this our first playoff in a designated event, or have we had one yet?
I believe so, because it's only been Chris Kirk, right, this year?
Chris Kirk in a playoff.
Yeah, I think that's right.
At Honda.
Yeah.
So we are setting up our first playoff. Jordan Spieth and Matt Fitzpatrick were both selected in our one and done. We'll talk about that in a bit, but we get a pretty, I think Patrick, the odds makers had this basically 50-50 on who was going to win it.
Yeah. How about Spieth first taking 2 clubs to the tee? I don't know if that was in regulation or not, to the widest fairway in the PGA Tour.
I think that was regulation.
And then in the playoff, he's over the ball and he backs off he's like, this isn't going to make it.
That was unbelievable.
Was that the first playoff hole? Right?
Yeah, that was crazy.
And then Spieth flags it. He thought it was all over. It just received 0 check whatsoever. I'm not really sure why his ball, there must be a downslope there, right in front of that pin or something, because his ball was all over that pin and then rolled out 30 feet. And then kind of going back to 16 when Spieth left that birdie putt short in regulation, maybe a few revolutions short. That kind of marked the beginning of him not getting putts to the hole like he did the first 15 holes. He didn't hit the putt in the first playoff hole firm enough. I know it caught the edge, but just a bit more firm. It's center cut there. So Fitzpatrick definitely got away with one, especially with that 6-foot comebacker for par.
Yeah, we'll talk about each of these playoff holes here in just a second. But first, we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our partners.
Get breaking news.
Big news coming out of the NFL today.
Highlights and instant reactions.
The largest final round comeback in Tour Championship history. We're down to the Final 4.
I just want to take time to analyze greatness.
Talk winners and losers with a guy who's already a big winner.
CBS Sports HQ. It's all sports all day long.
Playoff hole number 1, back to 18, as Patrick already talked about a little bit here, KP. Spieth has a birdie putt to win because Fitzpatrick has already missed his birdie putt, and we got a historically slow lip out for victory, one that caused Jordan Spieth to not only drop the putter, but also remove the hat from his head.
We got a surrender cobra from Spieth on the first playoff hole. I mean, did y'all not think it? I thought it was going in.
Me too.
It was going too slow to not go in
because they had that kind of worm cam from behind the putter, and you're watching it and you're like, oh, that's in the center, and then it somehow ends up right behind the hole. And even with 2 feet left, it was on the left-hand side, and it ends up lips out right, and goes behind the hole. And it was just he definitely thought it was in. I thought it was in. The reaction was, I mean, maybe it's just me. It probably is, but I can't get enough of Spieth. Just his. And it's weird, right? Because he's not an extraordinary personality. He's not this gregarious person. He's not super unique. He just looks like a regular guy who plays golf at a very high level. And maybe it's just because we know him very well we've gotten to know him very well over the last 10 years. The Greller stuff, I don't know what it is, but it's just intoxicating to watch. And so his reaction after he misses and just can't believe it. I don't know. The whole thing was just hysterical to me.
Here's the putt. If you're watching on YouTube, we have the video.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Here's
wow,
the worm cam.
That's
boom.
That,
it's in.
That can't miss, right?
Oh. There's the hat.
Oh my!
I mean, just histrionics, Just can't believe it.
Play it again. Restart it. There is just no way that this ball touches the lip at this speed and does
Can
not
you
go down.
pause it like halfway? Yeah.
In.
Oh, that's the spot right there. It looks like it's going to start turning left
Yeah.
and dive in the middle.
Now Josh, play like a half more second and then pause it again. It's it. Still in. Do it again.
No,
Yeah, but it's getting a little dicier.
Now it's
right there. It wiggled right.
Yeah.
It's it. Oh my God.
I mean, what, a quarter of an inch left and it's in? I mean, it catches the lip and falls instead of. There's just no way that putt can end up.
Look how many surrender cobras are in the background.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
That was great. They showed that on the broadcast too. There were some guys in the background that had hysterical reactions.
Just all of it. I mean, Spieth's face right there. He got kind of the 2018 Open Championship haircut or whenever that was. Where he got
high and tight.
Yeah, like a little too high and tight. This one's better, but I don't know, man. It was the whole playoff was phenomenal. I loved it.
Second playoff hole, Matt Fitzpatrick again goes left of the pin on 17, and he missed the first putt in regulation right, missed this from basically the same spot left. And Greg, if you like Jordan Spieth with an opportunity to make a putt to win a golf tournament, I got it on a second straight hole for you. This one lacked pace and did not drop either.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if the first one lacked. I mean, it would have, for watching the replay, it would have gone in with a little more pace. But I didn't think he hit a tentative putt there. This one I thought was a little more tentative. There's not a lot of movement in it. I thought watching the stroke and watching the pace of this thing dying in, that's not a putt that you want to have dying into the hole, right? You can hit that with a little bit of pace. And if anything, you got to know that it's going to fall to the right if you are going to die it in, because Fitzpatrick's putt is downhill. So that was a little disappointing. And I think he had the right read on it. I think he had the right line, and I think he hit it shorter than he wanted to. So that's the one that is just a killer. It's a killer. But, I mean, he had a much better shot in there than he did in regulation. Fitzpatrick dialed in the same one. Jordan Spieth said, all right, it's time to – I got to go at this now. And stepped up and hit the shot, which was beautiful. And he should have put this to bed right here.
2 pars. The show must go on. Back to 18T, and this one was not going to require a lot of drama on the putting surface because Matt Fitzpatrick stuffs his approach to 1 foot, and after Jordan Spieth misses his long-range birdie attempt, Patrick, it was nothing more than a formality as Matt Fitzpatrick said, I'm not even going to move my mark. I'm going to put my ball down, knock this in from 12 inches, and become the RBC Heritage Champion in 2023.
The Harbortown poker chip as the ball marker. I don't know if you guys picked up on that as well, but it felt like Fitzpatrick, for the most part, was hitting from the same area in the fairway each time they went through 18. Maybe not during regulation. They were both on the more left side of the fairway, but and Spieth was kind of varying with his distance. Like one of his tee shots, it looked a little flary, maybe a little spinny, and he kind of had a tough time dialing up his approach numbers. And Fitzpatrick, I mean, it was just perfect, nothing more. Said it was another 9-iron, kind of smirked a little bit, referencing the 72nd hole at the U.S. Open. But you give Fitzpatrick, 3 shots out there, he's going to come back to bite you in the butt. And Spieth just didn't close him out when he had the opportunities, and Fitzpatrick did.
I was trying to see what his distances were. So he hit it to, in the first playoff hole, he hit it to like 30 feet, right? Because then he ran that one by. Hit it to. Let's see what he hit it to in regulation. Little 23 feet. So he was like 23 feet, 25 feet, and then stuffed it to 1 foot after he finally got it dialed in. How about these 2 career PGA Tour wins, Greg? Only 2 for Matt Fitzpatrick. They're both pretty sizable. The U.S. Open at Brookline, and then the designated event RBC Heritage here in April of 2023. Those are 2 good ones to have.
Yes, very good to have. I mean, did he win? Was he a winner in college? Because I'm thinking, I mean, this is like his first win.
He was only in college for like a month.
Oh, it was a short stay at Northwestern.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know if he's won it anywhere but Brookline in the U.S. until now, which is pretty cool. So, yeah, but to cap off a designated event and a playoff with Spieth, having Cantlay in the final group, it's a big deal. And, this one, there was a moment where it looks like Matt Fitzpatrick was losing his game earlier this year because of the injury in his neck, little minor slip disc. And it's really good to see him come back and healthy and see the ball speed still up there, see the distance still staying strong. And it feels like the work he's put in. I mean, he said he felt like the work he put in the offseason was just out the window. But it feels like now it's not out the window. Some of it really held, some of it stuck. And boy, I mean, the 3-wood that he hit on the first playoff hole and that, he wailed on that thing.
Yeah.
I gave it a little recoil and it was perfect. So I love seeing it. I'm really happy for him. Of course, everybody's rooting for Spieth, but Fitzpatrick's hard not to root for him too.
At Fitzpatrick, KP will go to number 8 in the world, according to our friend Nosferatu, which will be his highest ever ranking in the official world golf rankings. Business is booming.
It is. So I threw this out there. Well, okay, a couple of things here. One, I threw this out there during the final round. I think Matt Fitzpatrick. So my question was, and I'm actually interested in y'all's answers. What's a like sort of crazy golf take that you have that you actually kind of believe, but you're scared to say it out loud? And I think mine of late has been that I think Matt Fitzpatrick's going to be the number 1 player in the world at some point, which there was very sort of varied reaction to, we should say. A lot of people are like, yeah, of course. And a lot of people are like, you're the biggest idiot. And my reasoning for that is in 10 of the last 11 years, he has improved his strokes gain number year over year. And that's so unusual. I mean, if you go all the way back to his amateur days, he was a negative. This is like compared to, this is sort of normalized at a PGA Tour level. So obviously, if you're an amateur, unless you're Gordon Sargent, you're going to be a negative. So negative. He finally gets to like sort of PGA Tour average in 2015. And then every year it's a half stroke, a quarter stroke. Last year he was at 1.7 strokes gained per round, which is a really good number. If you're at 2.0, that's top 5 player in the world type status. Now, he hasn't jumped up this year yet because as Greg alluded to, like there's been injuries. There's been kind of he hasn't been super healthy. I'm interested to see if he does kind of improve on last year's 1.7 number, because that's a tough number to improve on, but that's my half-baked, like I think I believe this, although I'm scared to say it out loud thing, is that I think Matt Fitzpatrick will be the number 1 player in the world someday.
I have one, but I don't think I should say it on air.
Hell yeah.
Come on.
It's gonna have to be an off-air one.
That's no fun.
You got one, Patrick?
That's soft.
I don't know if I have one. I mean, I don't know if I don't think Scotty Scheffler's like that good.
But that's good enough.
That's a take. Wait, hold on. Play that out for me.
I just don't think he doesn't pass the eye test, but he passes every other test. But these two bad boys have betrayed me the past 14 months or so.
I'd say.
Yeah,
we're throwing out crazy takes, right? And I think Xander Schauffele, if we're going on who could be number 1 in their career, I think Schauffele will as well.
Okay.
I'm trying to read through some of the
Rick, if I just put that one
replies
out there, I think you got to put yours.
Mine's broadcast related, so I think I should hold on to it until later. Yeah. I'm trying to read through some of these. Go ahead, Greg.
Greg, do you have one?
I mean, first of all, I say all my takes. I'm not afraid to say anything. But I think I have real worries that Jordan isn't going to win another major. But at the same time, I could see him going on a run and rattling off 3 in another year. But I don't know if he's going to win another one. That's why I'm a little reluctant to say it. But I have this feeling that things are just more complicated now than they've been. Now, this week, he seemed really calm with Grella for the most part. A lot calmer, which I like. But I think things are a little complicated for Jordan now. And while it's a lot better, I'm not sure he's ever going to win another one.
Speaking of that friend group, is Justin Thomas the new Ricky Fowler? Just all this social media presence, mixing it up on Twitter during the Masters. Maybe a little overrated.
He won the PGA last year.
He's literally one of the 4 reigning major champions.
Maybe a little overrated.
Wow, you are coming in hot, Patrick.
That's I think I'll take back the Scotty Scheffler one.
You should be afraid to share.
I'll rescind that offer, and in its place, I will put, is Justin Thomas the new Ricky Fowler? Just let it marinate. Put it in the fridge overnight.
JT has 15 PGA Tour wins, including a Players and 2 majors.
And what's he gonna have? Like
Ricky
27
as a Players.
He's gonna have what? 27 wins, KP by.
Don't bring me into this.
John says Sahith will win a major before Scheffler wins his second.
Wow.
Okay, hold on. I got to jump in on this Scheffler stuff because what did he finish this week, Rick?
T11.
He should have turned in like 30.
He should have. He can't put it in the ocean. But people are not understanding the Scheffler thing. I went back and looked. I pulled his ball striking since January 1 of last year of 2022 is 2.02 strokes gain. So that's just off the tee and approach play. With 6 wins. Tiger in 2005, which is Masters and Open and 4 other wins. He had 6 wins, 2.02 ball striking. Scotty Scheffler for the last 16 months has been Tiger in 2005. 6 wins, 2.02 strokes gained ball striking. Same exact same numbers.
Was
and I think
good?
people I mean, it's not bad. And then Patrick rolls in. He's like, I don't know, man. I don't. He might be on the Corn Ferry in like 3 years.
What is it?
You guys offered spicy takes. I'm not gonna give.
But
you
I don't
guys
understand
a
the eye
mild
test.
one.
Is it just his swing? He hits it inside of 10 feet on every hole. I can't believe
he's like the best iron player in the world.
Every single time I turn on the TV, I mean, it could be any time of day. Scotty Scheffler's got a 6-footer for birdie.
Yeah, the eye test must be on the putting surfaces.
When's the last time Scotty Scheffler made a clutch putt?
Well, he wins by 5. He doesn't have to.
Just saying.
I mean, he won the Players like 40 days ago.
Oh, I totally forgot about that. No, didn't hit a clutch putt though. So
I mean, for sure, because he was up 5 for like the last 30 holes.
The part of him being boring is removing drama from golf tournaments because he's so far up.
Guys, I rescinded this one. Okay, I'm on the JT one.
You got ants in your pants right now, buddy boy.
Ants in your pants, Johnson.
There was another one that said, "Oh boy." This one, I don't even. I love when people are like unhinged from reality. Being a lefty can shape shots, and having displayed the clutch gene at a young age on other tours, I believe Garrick Higo will win a green jacket at the Masters. Is that
a troll or a real take?
I think it's real.
I would be willing to bet many pints of ice cream that Garrick Higo is not going to win the Masters.
All right, let's do it. Kyle will take Rory. The listener gets Garrick Higo.
Oh, I just give. Well, don't I get the rest of the world?
You get the rest of the.
It's just not Garrick Higo.
Yeah. All right, gents, let us recap our best bets in our one and done. And I'm unfortunately sad to say a lot of money was doled out in the one and done, not necessarily to myself. First, we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our partners.
Absolutely magisterial here.
Bets. Show me the grid. And this is arguably the most painful grid we've ever shown.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Hold on. Don't just get enamored with the amount of red on the screen, because when I show you how close it was, you're going to be a little upset. So we got one matchup win, Matt Kuchar over Corey Connors. The finishing positions, Scotty Scheffler, Kyle, top 10, finished 11th.
Yeah.
Mark had Ben Martin top 40, finished 41st. Justin Thomas top 20, finished one shot out of the top 20. Denny McCarthy finished one shot out of the top 20. This is being on as close as you can get, but on the wrong side of all of them. Jordan Spieth winning. Mark had Jordan Spieth winning.
How did Mark have Spieth winning and Fitzpatrick in the one and done?
He's sick, man. He could be a time traveler.
Unfair advantage on the grounds every week.
Could you imagine if Mark was traveling? If he was traveling time, and the only thing he could use it on was to win one and dones. Like he can do like he can't nothing else. His superpower is just winning one and dones.
That'd be kind of a sad use of time traveling, quite frankly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There is.
I think that's the joke, Greg.
Yeah, good one, Greg. The Patrick, it's funny you say that, the boots on the ground thing. I won't name the player, and it's not Victor, so we can just get that out of the way. A player was like, can I just I would be able to make so much money if I just bet. Like, I know who is hurting, who's not playing well, who's grinding. Like, there is a real boots on the ground thing that these players look at each other like, this guy's got no chance.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's everyone I bet on.
That's true. Man, Scheffler not finishing in the top. I mean, he missed like 5 putts inside of 8 feet today.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't just today. I mean, he did all week long, all 2 years long.
He could have won 10 times instead of 6.
Lost strokes putting again. Yeah. Lost a half a stroke putting, finished T11.
Only half a stroke. Okay.
And I mean
both par 5s.
They're just easy putts.
Yeah. The par 5s were both 3-footers on the front.
Yeah.
But, sometimes they just don't pass the eye test.
Do we have the
This is Patrick, you doubling down on this is not you're not helping yourself.
I already claimed this one was a joke. I'm on the JT one.
Yeah. That's what I would say too.
It's just a joke thing. Yeah. Do we have the other wagers, our best bets? Okay. A little better here. Bezuidenhout top 40 cash. Ricky Fowler back in action, top 40. KP, Max Homa. How did Max? What are we thinking about Max? Oh, we missed the cut.
Yeah, not good.
He's gonna partner up with Colin Morikawa next week.
Yeah, I saw you got a couple of those jerseys. The Homakawa.
Yeah, that was an impulse purchase that when it finally showed up, I was like, I'm an idiot.
I've done, yeah. I've had my fair share of
the last time I did that was like 3:00 in the morning watching the Open Championship, and I ordered a replica claret jug, and then it got here like 3 weeks later, and I was like, I'm a moron.
Wait, you ordered what? Do you and your wife drink wine out of like the replica claret jug?
It doesn't even have an opening. That would be great. It doesn't
have an opening.
First of all, you can get like an actual one for like $1,500. Luckily, I just got like the plastic version or whatever. Or not plastic. I don't know what it is.
So what does it do?
I mean, it's the same size and shape as the claret jug. It just doesn't have an opening that goes down into it. It's just like it's like sealed off at the top.
So you can just
I guess I could sip
like a paperweight
off the top of it.
Do you pretend you won it?
Yeah, it's actually in the. I don't know if you can see it. It's in my backdrop, like right there.
So do you just display it in your office as if you won like the junior writer or the junior Open Championship or something?
Yeah, except I'm the only person who ever comes in here, so I just have to convince myself of that.
That was a good week, Rick. Man,
this is incredible.
Can't believe you did it.
So I was like, okay, well, how am I going to get a Dodgers? I'm not a Dodgers fan at all. How am I going to get a Dodgers Homakawa jersey? So I went to Fanatics and I did a custom Homakawa 23, ordered a couple of them and said, all right, I'm a genius.
You know what you should do, Rick, is get a replica trophy if you pick the winner of a major.
That'd be sick.
Through your career. That could be pretty cool.
You should start being announced as the champion golfer of the year in your house. Just
you walk in and your wife's like, and now entering the dining room. Have you guys ever thought? I was thinking about this week. Have you ever thought about how bizarre it is that for the most prestigious golf tournament in the world, you get a sports coat?
Yeah. Do you know why?
I actually don't. I should.
I don't know the full details. I was hoping you could fill me in, but it's like Bobby Jones went to some other club or something like that, and they had yellow jackets for members. And he thought that was like the coolest thing he had ever seen in his entire life. Yellow jackets. And they came back and said, we need jackets. Let's brainstorm. They thought about yellow. They thought about red. They thought about all this other stuff. And they went with green because it was the color of something that he saw. I think it was of a flower.
Well, I mean, within the context of like
probably
what we do, I don't think azaleas are green, but
the leaf.
Oh, gotcha. Within the context of what we do, you're like, oh yeah, of course. But then you step outside of it and you start thinking about it and you're like, it would be so weird if they gave LeBron like a sports coat for winning the NBA finals. Like, here's your leather sports coat, Mr. LeBron. Right?
Yeah. And it's also like, as you know, one of like 5 tournaments that give a sports coat. Like it's actually catching on.
It's only the beginning.
Including the one this week.
What if they get, we need golfer championship rings. Imagine the designs you could get if you win, your caddy, and that's it.
I think it's also sick. I was thinking about this. There's so few people that have won. Like, think about the most exclusive sort of clubs in every other sport, like winning the Stanley Cup. There's so few people that have done that. Well, actually, there's like hundreds of people that have done that. There's only 56 people that have ever won the Masters. 58, 50, something like that. That's crazy. Like how few people. I mean, there's probably 56 people that were on the Chiefs roster this year that won the Super Bowl. But to only be one of 56 people that have ever won the Masters, that's pretty wild.
There might have been more people who have walked on the moon.
Google it. My mouse is broken, so I can't go anywhere.
How many people have walked on the moon? Oh,
3.
It's not. I thought it would be a lot more than this.
12.
Yeah.
12? Is it?
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I had an inkling.
All right.
Well,
that
I
makes
grew up
up
next to
I will tell you
elementary.
Oh, okay. So obviously a big difference between walking on the moon and going to space. So 622 people have reached Earth's orbit. Still a very small number.
So fewer people have won the Grand Slam than have walked on the moon.
There you go. Nice. There was a stat, I don't know if it was still true, but Mariano Rivera had allowed like fewer postseason runs than people who had walked on the moon.
Wow.
Just insane.
I love stuff like that. It's so good. I too have allowed fewer postseason runs than people that have walked on the moon.
So he's been in the postseason like 20 times. Okay. I've been trying to delay the inevitable.
Yeah, it's not good.
The one and done results. Just show them, Josh, I guess. Yeah. So, Greg, first off, great selection. You chose Patrick Cantlay, You got 1.38 million. You are closer to Patrick than you have ever been, but you're still going to feel a little sour about this result, aren't you?
Yeah. I mean, I pick the guy who comes in solo third, and what is this? Half the board beats me.
Yeah.
And I'm lone wolf. I was fired up that nobody else took Patrick Cantlay. So I am going to actually make some moves this week. And look at me now, still in the cellar. It's you guys are good.
Imagine how excited you would have been on Tuesday if I said you have Patrick Cantlay by yourself. He's going to earn 1.3 million. You would have just been like doing cartwheels in your house.
Yeah, I was kind of expecting, 3 times that, but pretty happy with it. I mean, I don't want to get greedy. I'll take a top 3. He's good for a top 3 here. Devastating.
Patrick Terrell Hatton. That was worth $237,000. You fend off Greg for now. You make up a little bit of ground on Kyle. You have crested the $6 million mark.
We are officially in panic mode in the McDonald camp. We're firing the GM, cleaning out the entire front office. We got to bring in new blood, figure something out. The only good thing we have going for us is unlimited cap room, pretty much, with all the big boys still left to play. But being down nearly $9 million at this point, with May on the horizon, I am shaking in my boots.
This is like Spieth running off at the Open that one year and getting the putting mirror out after he missed a 2-footer in the 3rd round. That's where you're at right now. You're running off the 18th green,
sprinting. Yep.
Is that the night that he took his putter home with him?
Yeah,
and kept it in the slept with it in bed or something like that.
Yeah, well, they showed him showing up to the Open the next day with just the putter. Yeah.
Like, where's the rest of the bag?
So sociopathic behavior, just completely absurd.
KP, I have to announce that you got $0 from Max Open.
Yeah, it sucks. You can't put up a 0 in the elevated events. I don't understand how Mark has picked 3 elevated winners so far.
Time travel
with an asterisk.
It's crazy.
It is an asterisk. Let's never forget that portion of it.
But it really is crazy to have done that. You always love to see somebody who just is like desperate to win actually win. So that's always fun.
Sia Najad and I had Victor Hovland, which I can tell you felt a lot better on Thursday night than it did on Sunday night because I was counting my $3.6 million. And when you go out and shoot, oh boy, 78-71 on the weekend, Greg, that is not a recipe for $3.6 million. He finished T59. It was officially worth $44,800.
No, I mean, 78-71 might have been pretty good in like the, 1917 U.S. Open. But that's not good now.
Who won the 1917 U.S. Open?
I don't know. I should have said 1913.
One of Snead's bogus wins.
I'm going to find out for you. I'll
give you
17.
Wait, what year did you say? 1917?
And they probably didn't have it. That was World War I, right?
Yeah. So
that might have been not played.
Yeah, that is correct.
Archduke Franz Ferdinand.
I should have said 13.
MC. An MC from the Archduke. Maybe a DQ. WD.
Greg picked one of only.
WD.
Yeah.
Greg picked one of only 2 years in which it was canceled.
Wow.
That's incredible.
I had another one in my mind.
Which one were you thinking of?
1913.
No, that doesn't count. Pick a different one.
1912.
Okay, 1912.
Who was it? Harry Varden?
Nope. It was an American, and it was his second U.S. Open. 1912.
Oh, I know who it is.
From Philadelphia. He caddied at Aronimink.
Is it the redhead in The Greatest Game Ever played?
Yeah, that's who it is.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
I can't think of his name.
I can't either.
Yeah, his name is John McDermott.
McDermott.
Now,
Johnny Mac.
78-71, Greg, you think that would have been good enough? Let's see. Well, yeah, it would have been because he opened up 74-75. So that's 149. 78-71. Let me spoil for you. 149. It would have been good enough.
Yeah. Pretty good. All right. So that is, but not good for Victor this week. That's too bad. That's got to be a little fatigue. That's the only way he shoots 78.
Is it though? I don't. Yeah, it could be, certainly. He's also playing. Is he playing next week?
No.
I guess I was thinking of Cantlay is playing next week. It was interesting. I read his comments. Rick and I talked about this, I think, on Thursday, about how he just mismanaged the golf course at Augusta National last week, got too greedy. I don't know if that – I didn't see anything from him talking about this week, but I don't know. Like, I would love to see him just kind of own a week, go wire to wire, lights out, finish, start to finish, close it out. Obviously, that's a lot easier for me to say than it is for him to achieve, to do. But he's that level of player to me. And you don't want to see somebody Charlie Hoffman stuff all the time where you lead on Thursday night and then it's just fade, 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 fade. And I realized he was kind of in it at the Masters, but I don't know. It's a little, I think there's another step for Victor to take over the next year or two.
Fingers crossed for him indeed. The fans and Kyle M. Good one. Jordan Spieth, 2.1 million. The fans go to 9.3. They are in fourth by a pretty significant gap. Kyle M., who has been on fire, is at 9.5 million. And Kyle M. has now made, actually, how about this? He got the first cut bump, KP. Before he met us.
Don't give us credit for this.
Before he wore that big hat, he earned $288,000 in 5 starts. Since then, he has earned $9.2 million in 10 starts.
That's crazy.
Wow.
That's insane. That's more than me, Sia, Patrick, and Greg have earned in all of our starts.
That's right.
Yes. I mean, you're talking. He's within $1 million of what, the real lead? Could you call the real lead 10
For
million?
sure. Yeah, that's the real lead.
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk.
Mark's like Jimmy Walker right now at the mark.
Let's talk about my just collapse. I picked the winner in the first event, and I've made, what was the first one, like 2.7 or something?
2.7 million. That is correct. And you've made 3.8 since.
That's not good. I was leading after week 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if we had the broadcast, the lines of your trend, you'd be shot out of the gate early, and then
yeah, not a drop from coverage officially going into May.
Mark picked Matt Fitzpatrick. He got the full 3.6 million. He's at 14.5.
It's kind of a nonsense. Like, he hasn't been playing good.
But he vacationed here since age 6,
Which is like not even a real thing. It's not a real thing.
But Mark knew. What's the plan for next week's one and done?
Historically, I think last year, Greg, you probably remember this because I think I've used like Chris Kirk and somebody. We required you to burn both golfers.
Yes,
yeah,
we did that last
tough.
year. It's really tough.
So if you used one of them, you can't use that team?
That's correct,
right.
Patrick.
Okay. Good to know.
All right, so we'll end on this just real quick, just to kind of wet everybody's whistle for next week. Patrick Cantlay, Xander Schauffele will be playing together. Colin Morikawa, Max Homa, Billy Horschel, and Sam Burns. Matt Fitzpatrick will be with brother Alex Fitzpatrick, Siwoo Kim and Tom Kim, Sahith and Justin Suh. I'm just kind of going through some of the notables here. Kurt Kitayama, Taylor Montgomery. This is the Zurich Classic. They will alternate between 4 ball and 4 sums. You will see guys on 59 watch on Thursday and Saturday, and you will see guys trying to break par in alternate shot on Friday and Sunday. It is a fun little event, and it happens next week.
Tough and one and done, but it's a good event. I like it. It turns out to be fun when you get a couple of good teams in there.
I think we said you burn both golfers, but you get both shares of the money. So it's like 1.1 or something like that to the winner. But I think then if you pick the winner, you get 2.2. Like you burn both, you get both.
Okay.
I'm fine with that, but I'm not sure we did that last year. We got to check the tapes.
We did some variation of that. I don't know that we got both shares of the.
Do you want to decide right now?
Let's do that. I like that.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. I think that's fair.
I mean, if you burn both,
get both.
Burn both, get both.
Cool. Yeah, that's good.
All right. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Elevated events have rocked. They've been so good. I mean, as it turns out, if you put all your best players into the same tournaments, that's good for entertainment.
You know what we should do? Change them. Do something different next year. They've been so good. They've been perfect. Why are we changing them?
I keep forgetting that. It's a good call, Rick.
Boy. Anything else? Going once, going twice.
Spieth's going to win the Open.
Oh, boy.
Might win the PGA, too.
Wow. That would make my take look pretty bad.
Last T3 at Bethpage in 19, same state. Something brewing.
Same state.
Oh, yeah.
All right. That'll do it. Big thanks to producer Josh, does all the hard work behind the scenes. We'll be back for the Zurich Classic Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday for all that fun stuff. Patrick McDonald available at Amateur Status. Greg DuCharme available at The Real GFD. Kyle Porter available at Kyle Porter CBS. And you can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been The First Cut. We'll catch you next time.